The Gold Mine. The story begins in 1908 in a town called Harmony, which is located between the desert and the mountains near a small river. The town's economy revolved around agriculture. The residents raised crops and also fished from the nearby river. The small town consisted of some small houses, a hotel, a church, farms, and local stores. The small river called the Golden River plays a major role in the survival of this town, as it helps the town with its agricultural and fishing businesses. Joe Jackson, a local, was fishing in the Golden River, and little did he know the good fortune he would have this particular day. While fishing, he was pleasantly surprised when he noticed a curious stone at the bottom of the river. After reaching for the stone, he could not believe what he held in his hand. It was a piece of gold. The golden piece was about the size of his palm and was very bright. Joe held the stone in his hand, admiring the beauty, while wondering where the stone may have come from. However, looking upriver, he realizes that there is a mountain in the horizon, and he notices there is a glimmering light. Joe focuses on the glimmering light, and what he thinks he sees is the moonlight reflecting off of more golden stones. He decides to take a chance and plans a trip up to the mountain. Joe prepares his horse and sets out on his journey. His adventurous spirit is what Joe hopes will give him the strength for his long journey. His journey continues upriver, traversing through tough terrain and weary of wild animals. Joe walks for days upriver with the hope to find the great treasure he is imagining in his mind, which he expects to find at the river's origin. After 2 weeks of walking, Joe finally arrives at the mountain and is astonished at the beauty he holds in sight. Joe is amazed at the beauty of the waterfalls that feed the Golden River and how they fall over the mountain's face like a veil. After a few months of arriving at the mountain with his carpentry skills, Joe improvises a way to mine the gold from the mountain. After 2 years of living on his own and mining for hours every day, Joe was able to collect a sizable amount of gold, content with what he had decided to go to Harmony Village. The day of Joe's arrival was a very emotional day for him, because he realized how happy he was to be back at his town. The local paper released an article on Joe's arrival and great discovery. Joe arrives at the hotel to rent the best room to relax from his long journey. Furthermore, Joe offers the hotel owner a deal to buy the hotel and asks him if he would like to continue to run the administration, showing Joe's goodwill. After years of hardship, when at the mountain, Joe decides the first thing to do is to relax and enjoy newly found wealth. He decided to stay at the hotel and treat himself to a big room, cigars, liquor, new clothes, and room service. His life changed. Now he is a rich man. After spoiling himself, he decides to leave the hotel to a big surprise. The townspeople are waiting in anticipation to see him and talk to him, happy for him. However, as most townfolk welcome him, some were also jealous of his success and wealth. Joe decides to buy the store where he used to work for many years. It was a general store for the town. The general store was just as he remembered 2 years earlier, and was very excited to own it. Joe decides to create a map to find the gold mine he built years ago. The map was basic and easy to follow, and was very precise. The red X marked the spot, and since it was easy to follow, he decides to cut it in half and hide them in separate places. He cuts the map in half and he hides one half of the map in a moose head in the general store with clues on how to find the other half, and the other half in the attic of the hotel. Joe hides that half of the map in one of the bricks that makes the hotel's chimney. Joe was by the river one day, staring at the water, and was remembering the day he found the stone. 2 suspicious men approach him while he is crouched by the river. The 2 individuals were dressed as cowboys and were armed with pistols. Joe asks the two individuals what they wanted, and the men approached him and said, "What do we want?" One of the men said. The other men responded right after, "We want your money and the map of the mine." The two men knew about the map and wanted both his remaining gold and the maps as well. Joe refuses and then fights with the two men viciously. Joe fights as best he can and kicks one of the men in the stomach. The force of his kick is very strong and hopes his efforts are enough to end the battle. Although he held his own, he is no match for the two men, and they shoot him dead. As Joe falls to the ground from a fatal gunshot wound next to the river that gave him his good fortune, the men are seen fleeing in the background. Just as fast as the news of Joe's good fortune traveled, so does the news of his death. Joe's properties were auctioned, as he did not have anyone to leave his fortune to. The owners of the general store are happy to have won the auction and take over the store. The general store was still the same, just dusty from the days without any use. On the back wall of the store, a sign which said Joe's Store was still there, below the moose head, where the half of the map was still hidden. While cleaning the store, the new owner noticed something strange about the moose head. It had a string that was tying the head against the wall. When he tried to pry the head off the wall, the head fell, and to the new owner's surprise, found 2 bags of golden stones and one half of the map that Joe drew, with clues on how to find the other half of the map. Serrano, the store's owner, being so smart, was able to figure out where the other half of the map was. Serrano rents a room at the hotel and is able to sneak to the attic to find the other half of the map. Serrano finds the brick where the map was hidden and takes it out. Following the same route as Joe did years ago, he also goes through a long journey until, after arriving at the mine, Serrano realized that the mine was overtaken by Mother Nature. He also realized that if he exploited the mine, destruction would come to his town and beautiful river. The beauty of the town and its people is the reason Serrano decided not to exploit the mine, to try to conserve his town for as long as he can. Serrano decides to destroy the map, as he does not want to be the one responsible for such misfortune for his town. The end.